the courage to let go, finding freedom through release. Welcome to the soft girl era. I'm thrilled to be standing here today sharing insights that have transformed countless lives, including my own. These revelations came to me through my profound conversation with Thiopia Larose, a visionary whose work on boundaries, release, and self preservation has sparked a quiet revolution among women who spent lifetimes carrying burdens that were never theirs to bear. Thiopia doesn't just speak about freedom, she embodies it, creating pathways for others to discover their own liberation through her fearless truth telling and compassionate guidance. Have you ever held onto something so tightly your knuckles turned white? Maybe it was a relationship that had long expired, a friendship that drained more than it gave, or perhaps a business partnership that no longer aligned with your vision. We've been taught that holding on shows strength, perseverance, loyalty. But what if I told you that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is release your grip? This isn't just feel good advice. This is survival. This is revolution. This is especially true for Black women who have been conditioned to endure, to push through, to make it work, no matter the cost. As Thiopia so eloquently shared during our conversation, letting go isn't failure, it's freedom. Freedom. That word sits differently when you've been carrying the weight of expectations, responsibilities, and generational patterns on your shoulders. When you've been the backbone of your family, your workplace, your community, often without recognition or support. The statistics tell a sobering story. 27% of Black women serve as heads of households, a rate significantly higher than the general population. Many are doing this while navigating poverty rates of 24% compared to 14% for women overall. These aren't just numbers. They represent real lives, real struggles, real women making impossible choices every day. And in the midst of these structural challenges, we're still expected to show up in relationships with unlimited patience, boundless forgiveness, and unwavering strength. But at what cost? Let me share a story that illuminates this question perfectly. A professional Black woman in her early 30s, let's call her Maya, found herself trapped in a relationship marked by emotional neglect. On paper, she had it all: career success, beautiful children, the appearance of stability. But behind closed doors, she was drowning. Every time she considered leaving, the questions haunted her. What will people think? Can I really do this alone? Am I just giving up too easily? These weren't just her questions. They were echoes of messages she'd absorbed her entire life, messages that equated endurance with virtue and prioritizing herself with selfishness. But here's what's powerful about Maya's journey. Through therapy, community support groups specifically designed for Black women, and financial planning resources that addressed the economic realities she faced, she gradually built the confidence to leave. The outcome: improved mental health, stronger bonds with her children, better performance at work, and perhaps most significantly, she inspired other women in her circle to examine their own relationships and prioritize their well being. This isn't just one woman's story. This is a ripple effect of courage. When one woman says, I deserve peace, she gives permission for others to say it too. And let me tell you, in today's world, that permission is desperately needed. Over half of Black adults report that dating feels harder now than ever before. The digital landscape has created new challenges, new vulnerabilities, new ways to be hurt. Consider another story Thiopia shared with me. A young entrepreneur, let's call her Zora, found herself navigating the treacherous waters of online dating, where Black women face digital harassment at twice the rate of their white counterparts. After several disappointing encounters, including one serious boundary violation, she didn't just retreat, she revolutionized her approach. She developed strict digital boundaries. She sought out platforms that prioritize user safety. She joined affinity groups focused on empowering professional Black women seeking healthy connections. The result wasn't just fewer negative experiences, it was clarity, confidence, community. She began sharing her strategies online, building a following of women who were tired of compromising their dignity for the possibility of connection. This is what happens when we reframe letting go, not as giving up, but as making space for what we truly deserve. And this principle extends beyond romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family dynamics, and yes, even business partnerships. Take the story of two dynamic Black businesswomen who founded a company together, fueled by friendship and shared vision. But as their business grew, misaligned priorities and inequitable workloads created tension. They found themselves trapped by the cultural message that loyalty means endurance at all costs. We don't want people thinking we failed, they told each other, even as their partnership was draining both their energy and creativity. Through mentorship from other founders who had navigated similar crossroads and workshops specifically designed for minority owned businesses, they eventually made the difficult decision to part ways professionally. The outcome? Both launched new ventures more closely aligned with their individual passions and goals. Both experienced improved mental health. And both became advocates for healthy boundaries in business relationships. Their story is now cited widely in entrepreneurial circles as proof that letting go isn't failure. It's sometimes a necessary evolution toward greater impact and purpose driven work. Do you see the pattern here? In each of these stories, letting go wasn't the end, it was the beginning of healing, the beginning of authenticity, the beginning of power. But I want to acknowledge something important. For Black women, especially, letting go often comes with unique challenges and considerations. When you're part of a community that has historically been marginalized and under resourced, decisions about relationships aren't just personal, they're practical, they're economic, they're about survival. This is why conversations about boundaries and self worth must acknowledge the real world context in which these choices are made. This is why resources and support systems specifically designed for and by Black women are so crucial. As Thiopia emphasized in our interview, we need to create spaces where Black women can be honest about their struggles without fear of judgment or abandonment. Because the truth is, letting go requires a safety net, it requires community, it requires examples of women who have walked this path before and emerged not just surviving, but thriving. This is why I'm so passionate about creating spaces where we can have these conversations openly and honestly, where we can challenge the notion that strength means endurance at all costs, where we can redefine what it means to be powerful, successful, and whole. Because dropping the superwoman cape isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Learning to say no without guilt isn't selfish, it's sacred. Protecting your peace isn't luxury, it's necessity. I want to share something deeply personal that resonates with Thiopia's message. Scripture tells us in Ecclesiastes 3 1, 8, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Even divine wisdom acknowledges that letting go is part of life's natural rhythm. It's not failure, it's flow. So I want to leave you with three actionable steps that emerged from my conversation with Thiopia. First, reflect honestly on any relationship, personal or professional, that consistently drains your energy or stifles your growth. Don't judge yourself for what you discover, just notice. Second, write down one small step you can take this week toward reclaiming your peace. Maybe it's reaching out confidentially for support. Maybe it's starting an honest conversation. Maybe it's simply acknowledging to yourself that something needs to change. And finally, remember, you're not alone. The statistics show these struggles are common, but so is our ability to rise above them together. I want to close with a challenge, one that might feel uncomfortable but has the power to change everything. Tomorrow morning, I want you to stand in front of your mirror and ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's actually holding me back? Then I want you to close your eyes and visualize yourself opening your hands, releasing that burden, and watching it dissolve into light. Because here's what I know to be true: your hands were not designed to cling to what diminishes you, they were made to create, to connect, to caress, to celebrate, and they cannot do any of these things when they're clenched around what no longer serves you. The world needs your open hands. Your community needs your open heart. And you, yes, you deserve the space that opens up when you finally let go. This isn't just about survival anymore. This is about revival. This is about reclaiming every part of yourself that you've surrendered to relationships, expectations, and obligations that drain rather than nourish you. So today, right here, I'm giving you permission to release, permission to rest, permission to reclaim your right to peace and possibility. And in a world that has asked Black women to choose everyone else first, that might be the most revolutionary act of all. Thank you